Hello everybody, my name is Dutchy, welcome to the channel and let's get right into this video. So this video is going to be all about some tips and tricks for the PlayStation VR 2 and basically how to get the ultimate experience out of it. I have a few little tips and tricks. You're not going to have to buy anything on this thing. I mean, if you get the PlayStation and the PlayStation VR, then you'll be absolutely set to go with all these tips. I know a lot of tips out there are trying to get you to buy other stuff, but with this one, no buying for anything. Alright, let's start off with the first tip. Now, the first tip is actually a very simple one. Now, most of the time when you are standing around on the PlayStation VR, at one point you will start moving towards the wall, or you'll start moving towards your TV quite a bit, which is kind of annoying because you'll have to pause your game and you'll have to sort of reset yourself in the center of the room. Now, there's actually a really easy tip on how to avoid this, which is just placing a mat where you're standing. Now, you will always be able to feel where you are with the mat, and well, that will be the center place for you. So as soon as you start feeling that you're moving off the mat, then you'll just have to easily move yourself back onto the mat, and well, you don't have to break the immersion of the game to see where you are. There are also some mats that are specially designed for VR, so you'll always be able to sit in the center sort of thing. But in my opinion, any sort of mat can do. I mean, I have not had any issues with the mat I'm using, which is just literally a random little mat I just got at home. And honestly, it works perfectly. So if you're kind of getting annoyed that you're moving around the room a little bit too much, using this mat honestly will be a game changer for you. Alright, so this next tip's probably going to sound very obvious, but keep your controllers charged. So every single time you finished a VR session, charge your controllers, because the next time you're going to play, you don't want a controller that only has one little bar of battery, because then like half an hour, maybe an hour later, you'll be playing the game and then all of a sudden your controller dies and you can't do anything. And that's extremely annoying because, well, you don't want the full immersion to be broken like that. And, well, it's such a simple little thing, but I recommend always try to keep your controllers charged. Alright, now let's talk about motion sickness. Now, motion sickness is probably one of the biggest things that makes people not want to play VR. Now, the thing with motion sickness is that there's a lot of settings on the games and the PlayStation itself that will help you out. But instead of talking about those like everybody else does, I want to quickly tell you guys, if you guys have some chewing gum and start chewing on the chewing gum while you're actually playing the game, it will help you a lot. A friend of mine actually does this and he says it helps tremendously with his motion sickness and he loves the VR. Now, another thing that really helps, he tells me, is that sitting down and playing the game like that is also a very good idea, and also make sure you stay hydrated. He also tells me as soon as you start feeling a bit motion sick, it's really good to take a quick little break, a 5 to 10 minute break, and then you can get straight back into it. Now, he used to only be able to play around about 10 to 15 minutes of VR before he got really motion sick, but now he can literally stay in VR for almost like 2 hours until he really needs to put it down for a little while. So the more you play VR, the higher tolerance you start building for it, and at one point you'll be able to play for a few hours without getting too motion sick. Now let's talk about some games that you can actually jam straight away. Now, there's actually quite a bit of games out there that have been upgraded to play with PlayStation VR. So, for example, if you own No Man's Sky, you're able to quickly jump into the game and start playing No Man's Sky in VR, which is absolutely amazing. And one of my personal favorites right now is Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village is an amazing experience in VR, and if you have Resident Evil Village already, it's a free upgrade to the VR, so you can literally put on the VR and you can just go away and play it. Not just that, there are plenty of demos out there, including actually Resident Evil VR, so you can actually play that and have a great experience and see which games you really want to play. I would highly recommend downloading as many of the demos as you can, just to get a bit of a feel for the VR and what type of games you really want to play in VR. Now, at some point you might experience that you'll be kicked out of the game world and you can see the world around you instead. Now, when this happens, that's usually because the PlayStation VR has lost the location that you're at. One way to actually easily fix this is to actually readjust your room and just get everything sorted again like that. But another way is to actually add tracking support. Now, what tracking support will do, it'll put a little box around your TV, and this box will basically be a focus point for your VR headset, allowing it to know exactly where it is. Another thing you can do just to make sure that your VR headset doesn't lose track of where you are is actually just light your place nice and properly. I mean, if you are in a very, very dark space, it's not going to track as nicely and it's not going to know what to do exactly. So just making sure that your house is nicely lit is also a really, really good idea. And I'm gonna try to keep the video short, so this is gonna be my final tip. Make sure you don't have a cat. If you have a cat, the cat will attack you constantly and will be very annoyed that you're paying attention to the VR and not you. It does make for some pretty funny moments though when you're trying to set up the VR and all of a sudden you get attacked and nobody else can see what's happening with you. But anyway, that's all the tips and tricks at the moment. If you guys liked it, why not like, why not subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. I tried to make it a little bit different than everybody else, because there's a lot of videos out there at the moment who are just talking about the 120 hertz and all that kind of stuff, so you probably already would have heard about that. So I'm not going to try to go into any of that sort of stuff. Anyway, hopefully you guys liked it. If you guys did, leave a like, subscribe, and anyway, I'll catch you guys all later. Bye!